It is 2026, 15 years after Arkham City first descended upon the gaming world, and yet the shadow of the Bat still looms larger than almost any modern superhero title. While we've seen dozens of live service attempts and open-world clones since 2011, Rocksteady's masterpiece remains a singular achievement, a perfect storm of atmosphere, mechanics, and myth-making that feels as vital today as it did on launch night. The narrative of Arkham City is a masterclass in escalation. It abandons the claustrophobic hallways of the first game for a sprawling, walled-off section of Gotham's slums, transformed into a lawless penal colony. You start not as a hero, but as Bruce Wayne, arrested for speaking truth to power and tossed into the belly of the beast by the enigmatic Hugo Strange. The brilliance of the writing lies in its dual-threat structure. On one hand, you have the ticking clock of Protocol 10, a looming genocide orchestrated by Strange. On the other, you are physically tethered to the Joker through a desperate shared mortality. He is dying from the Titan formula that ravaged him in the first game, and he's made sure Batman is going down with him. This creates a relentless forward momentum. Every time you think you've cornered one villain, the city's chaotic ecosystem, populated by Penguin, Two-Face, and Ra's al Ghul, drags you deeper into the grime. In 2026, the performances of the late Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill carry an even heavier emotional weight, serving as the definitive, timeless versions of these characters. The magic of Arkham City doesn't lie in how big the map is, but in how heavy the air feels when you're gliding through it. In 2026, where open world often translates to vast, empty wilderness, Arkham City remains a masterclass in density and intentionality. The atmosphere, or ambientation, of Arkham City is built on the concept of a beautiful nightmare. By sealing off a massive chunk of Gotham's historical district and turning it into a prison, Rocksteady created a setting that feels both expansive and claustrophobic. The ambient soundscape is what truly sells the immersion. As you crouch on a rooftop, you aren't met with silence. You hear the constant, shivering chatter of inmates around burning barrels, the distant, muffled propaganda of Hugo Strange echoing from megaphones, and the haunting cry of a lone siren. The snow is more than a visual effect. It acts as a shroud that softens the harsh neon lights of the Iceberg Lounge and the Sionis steel mill, creating a perpetual state of wintry decay. It's a world that feels like it's holding its breath, waiting for a spark to set off a powder keg. The art direction of Arkham City is a love letter to the entire history of Batman, blended into a singular, cohesive aesthetic often described as Gothic industrial. The game flawlessly marries 19th century Gothic cathedrals with gritty, rusted 20th century industrialism. You'll find yourself grappling off a gargoyle that looks centuries old, only to land on a high-tech security gate. This layered history makes the city feel like a real place that has been lived in, built over, and eventually abandoned to the wolves. Rocksteady's character design avoids the trap of being too realistic or too cartoony. Batman is a hulking, tactical tank, but his silhouette remains classic. The villains are redesigned to fit this grimy world. The Penguin is a brutal mobster with a bottle-bottom monocle literally shoved into his eye socket, and the Joker is a decaying, sickly mess. The color palette favors deep blues, sickly greens, and harsh oranges, ensuring that even in the darkness, the world has a vibrant, sickly pop. While the game looks like a standard open-world title, its soul is a Metroidvania. This is the secret sauce of its design. The world is gated not by invisible walls, but by your own equipment. The level design is remarkably readable. You can look at a building and intuitively understand how to navigate it based on the gadgets you've unlocked. The transition from the open city into indoor levels like the museum or the Wonder City ruins, allows for tighter, more scripted experiences that feel like classic Batman missions without losing the scale of the city. The game is designed around the Y-axis. Unlike most games where you navigate streets, Arkham City is played from the rooftops down. The design encourages you to stay high, observing your prey, and only dropping into the grime when necessary. This reinforces the power fantasy of being a predator. Every design choice feeds into the "Be the Batman" mantra. The map isn't cluttered with meaningless fluff. Every Riddler trophy is a mini-puzzle that tests your knowledge of the game's mechanics, and every side quest expands on a specific piece of Gotham lore. It is a rare example of a game where the world is exactly as large as it needs to be to tell its story. In short, the game design doesn't just give you a playground, it gives you a mission. It's a meticulously crafted clockwork world where every gear, from the art to the traversal, is clicking in perfect synchronization. The combat isn't about how fast you can mash the attack button. It's a high-stakes rhythm game. At its core is the combo meter. As you strike and counter without taking damage, Batman's speed and strength increase, his movements becoming more fluid and his strikes more devastating. Once that meter turns yellow, the game opens up. You aren't just punching. You're executing high-level tactical takedowns, snapping limbs, or using the weapon steel to dismantle a thug's firearm or shield. The genius lies in the enemy variety. Rocksteady ensures you can never go on autopilot. You might have a group of 20 thugs, but within that group, one has a stun baton, requiring you to vault over him. Another has a riot shield, requiring an aerial attack. And another is a ninja who can dodge your basic strikes. In 2026, we see many games try to replicate this target priority system, but Arkham City perfected the quick-fire gadgets. Being able to fire a remote electrical charge to make a giant thug swing his hammer wildly, or dropping a freeze blast to take a shotgun wielder out of the equation mid-combo, creates a level of improvised choreography that still feels unrivaled. While the combat is a dance, the Invisible Predator segments are a horror movie where you are the monster. These stealth sections aren't about staying hidden in the traditional sense. They are about terror management. When you pick off a sniper from a vantage point or pull a henchman through a wooden wall, the remaining enemies don't just stay on their path. They panic. They start shooting at shadows, screaming at their teammates to stay close, and eventually, they break. The gameplay here is a sandbox of how do I want to win? You can use the disruptor to jam their guns, the line launcher to kick someone off a ledge from the shadows, or the sonic batarang to lure a curious guard into a trap. It turns the environment into a musical instrument of pain, where you are the conductor. Movement in Arkham City is where the open world becomes a mechanic rather than just a setting. The grapnel boost, unlocked early through training AR challenges, changed everything. By hooking onto a ledge and slingshotting yourself over it, you convert vertical pull into horizontal speed. Combined with the dive bomb, the traversal becomes a constant exchange of potential and kinetic energy. You dive to gain terrifying speed, then pull up to glide blocks away, skimming just inches above the snowy streets. It feels tactile. You can almost feel the tension in the cape. In 2026, where fast travel is the norm, Arkham City is one of the few games where you'll actually prefer to travel manually, because the act of moving is itself a reward. Finally, there is the world's greatest detective aspect. Detective vision is more than just an X-ray mode, it's an analytical layer. Whether you're tracking the trajectory of a bullet from a bell tower or scanning blood spatters to identify a killer's DNA, These moments provide a necessary breather from the high-octane action. It forces you to slow down and look at the environment, noticing the storytelling hidden in the architecture. A Joker-themed shrine in a basement, or a hidden door leading to a secret society. The progression isn't just about getting stronger, it's about getting smarter. Every gadget you unlock, from the remote control batarang, which you can steer through electricity to flip switches, to the cryptographic sequencer, opens up new ways to interact with a city that is constantly trying to kill you. Unlike many modern open worlds that feel like checklists of icons, Arkham City's progression feels earned. As you gain XP, you aren't just boosting stats, you are expanding your utility. You start as a powerhouse, but by the end, you are a walking arsenal. The side missions are integrated naturally. You'll hear a phone ringing in a distant alleyway that leads you to Josh, or stumble upon a crime scene that kicks off a hunt for the identity thief. And then, there is the Riddler. While his 440 trophies can feel like a completionist's nightmare, they serve a purpose. They force you to master the physics of every gadget and the architecture of every building. The city itself is a puzzle box, and solving it makes you feel like the world's greatest detective. If there is one reason to play this game in 2026, it is the Mr. Freeze boss fight. In an era where most bosses are just bullet sponges, the confrontation with Victor Fries is a tactical puzzle. Freeze learns from you. If you take him down through a floor grate, he freezes the floor. If you use a silent takedown, he uses his sensors to track your footsteps. You are forced to use every stealth mechanic in your repertoire exactly once, turning the fight into a test of everything the game has taught you. It remains, arguably, the greatest boss encounter in the superhero genre. So, is Arkham City worth it today? Absolutely. Even with the advancements in ray tracing and haptic feedback found in 2026 hardware, Arkham City holds up because its art direction is impeccable. The gothic, decaying architecture and the thick, oppressive atmosphere of a snowy Gotham night don't need 8K textures to be immersive. If you are coming from modern titles like Spider-Man 2 or the newer DC entries, you might find the world smaller, but you will find it significantly denser. There is no filler here. Every alleyway has a story. Every building has a history. It is a reminder of a time when open world meant open possibilities, not just more space. Batman Arkham City isn't just a great superhero game. It is one of the most cohesive action-adventure experiences ever crafted. It captures the tragedy, the violence, and the heroism of the Dark Knight in a way that feels definitive. But I want to hear from you. Does Arkham City still sit at the top of your superhero rankings? Or has a modern title finally dethroned the Bat? Drop a comment below and let me know which boss fight still gives you PTSD. If you enjoyed this deep dive, hit that like button and subscribe for more retrospective reviews.
This is Vicky Vale reporting live from Arkham City, the controversial super prison built right here in the heart of Gotham. In a few moments, Bruce Wayne will be live on stage to explain his sudden interest in Gotham politics. The infamous Playboy millionaire has never been one to—
It's billionaire, Vicky. Millionaires are so last year.
Wait!